By the end of this video, you will learn how to use Figma like a pro. I'm going to teach you how to use this powerful tool to create beautiful designs, websites, mobile apps, etc. To get started, go to figma.com to create an account. So when you come to figma.com, this is their default landing page. You're going to get a lot of information about what the tool is about and all. You can go through all their resources to see anything that appeals to you. You can read up on UI, design, icons, and all, right? So, but we're just going to focus on creating an account. So if you already have an account, just log in. If you don't, just click on create free and then follow the process. I think it's pretty straightforward. So once you're done setting up your account, this is the default page that you're going to see here. All your design files will be stored. If you create any design or if you do any design, this is where you're going to save. Like this is where it's going to be saved. So here at the top, you can create a Figma file. So Figma is the design tool used in Figma. Why FigJam is the ideating tool, collaboration, or maybe brainstorming tool. Figma is also a collaboration tool, but mainly for UI designs, right? And then you have the Figma slides. The Figma slides is used for creating presentation designs. Then you have the import option for you to import maybe like an existing file from other sources like Sketch, or maybe like an existing Figma file. We're just going to focus on creating Figma designs, UI designs. So I'm going to be walking you through the Figma design interface. And you have Figma community. Figma community basically is design library where you get access to a lot of things like plugins, pitch deck templates, design templates by other designers, right? So let's say I'm working on a mobile app for a car booking mobile app. I can just type car booking mobile app, and I'll see options. Like I'm likely to see, you can say this one is taxi app, this one is clinic app or something. I think this one is a med app, right? Then you see options. So let me just filter through and see which one is okay, right? Like for example, this one has clean designs, and this is not free. Some of the designs here are free for you to maybe like learn from. Some of them are just UI kits. That means design files that can help you get started with a project. So this one you might need to buy it to get access to the content. So these are some of the designs that you can see. So let's try this one, and you can see the way it's done. See the layout, you can see the structure and how this person was able to like put down this information in this smaller screen. I mean, in this small screen, you can see the calendar style and everything. These are some of the things that can help guide you when you are creating your own designs, especially when you don't have any form of experience in design or something like that. When there are a lot of things like plugins. Plugins are basically in Figma that can help you to speed up your work. For example, this remove BG helps you to remove the background of your images. This HTML to design helps you to convert any website to a Figma design. Like mockups helps you to create mockups of your design for presentations and all, right? So you have access to them. Like you have Lorem Ipsum helps you to generate dummy text. So that's it for the Figma community. You can just come here. It's on the left bottom left of your screen. You can just come here and explore, open these files and see what you can get from them. You have templates, and like for example, these are icons. These are icon packs. You don't necessarily need to start searching for where to get icons. You can see 440 plus icons, you can see, and they are nice, right? These are really nice icons. Sorry, still loading. These are really nice, well-crafted icons that you can use your design. And if you are satisfied with any of them, you can click on okay, open in Figma, and then it will open up the file in Figma. Once you open it up in Figma, you're going to see, and the beautiful thing about this icon pack is that they named everything, right? You can see they named it from start to finish. I don't know if these are okay. Yeah, these are usable. So if you are, let's say you are creating a design and you need like add the user icon, just come here, copy it and paste on your design. And one of the things I like about this icon pack as well, there are a whole lot of them. There are a whole lot of them out there. We'll talk about them as we progress in this course. So one of the things I like about is how they labeled it, right? How they labeled it. There are some that you just see, it's only the icons that you see. Their names are not there, or their names are on the title of the container that they are housed in. But apart from that, as at a glance, you know what this icon is called. So come to Figma community and explore, right? Explore all these things. You have the freedom to explore as many tools as possible, right? So going back, part of the design. So your drafts are also where your designs are. So you can see most of these files that I opened, they are here. Then you have Figma Basics, just basically a file that helps guide you on how to get started with Figma. You can see, you can open it up to see. Before, I used to have like mobile screens and guides. I don't know, I think they've maybe like switched things up. But after watching this video, you should be able to know how to use and do a lot of things that you want to do in Figma. So this is where your trash is. If you delete any item, this is where you're going to find it. Like this one, this is a file that I deleted earlier, and this one as well, I deleted it earlier. Then if you want to permanently delete them, then you can then right click and then permanently delete your file. If I want to create more projects, I can then upgrade my Figma account to a professional plan, which we don't need at the moment. So let's go back to our homepage, which is so we can create a new file. So to get started with creating a new file, I can just click on create a new file. This is the Figma design interface, and on the left side here of your screen is the layers panel. The bottom part here is the tool panel on the left side, and on the right side of your screen is the properties panel. So once you select any element or create any line on your canvas, so the center part, this empty area, this empty part that we're seeing, let me delete it. This empty section is called your canvas because this is where you design. So if I create anything or create or add any element or create any design, I'm going to see the name of the file or the element that I added on this layers panel, and I'm going to see the properties of that element on the property panel. So this course, we are just going to cover the Figma interface, like introduction to the Figma interface, how to create a new file, which we have done. We are going to discuss the layers panel and how to modify some content on there. We're going to explore the two panels, Figma AI, the property panel, the auto layout feature, components and variants, Figma shortcuts, dev mode, and file export. So for this dev mode, we are going to, when we get to this dev mode, I'm basically going to switch to my professional account because we won't be able to access the dev mode when we get here. So let's continue. Now, when you create a new account or when you create a new file, this is a new file, right? You are going to rename it, but it gives it the name untitled, which is not, it doesn't sound professional, because if you send this file link to anyone, what they're going to be seeing as the name of the file is untitled. So we are going to rename it. To rename it, just double click and then you can rename it. So I can call this Figma course. We're good to go. So that sounds better. And if you notice, we have a tag here that says free. The reason it's saying free is because we are on the free Figma account, right? Once you subscribe to the professional account, this is going to be removed. Let's start. For the layers panel, like I said earlier, once you create a new account, it's going to show you the name of the account here, and then you can choose to rename it. So I can choose to rename it by double clicking, right? And I can call this shape, right? And you can see the name of this file has been updated. I can lock it. When I lock it, I won't be able to move it. You can see I'm not able to move it anymore. I can hide it. Once I hide it, you won't be able to see it on the canvas area or wherever the design is placed, right? So that's the things that you can do on the layer panel to rename the page. I can call this page practice, right? And call it practice. I can choose to add another page, right? Remember, we are here, so I'm going to change the color of this. When we are on this page, which is practice, I can choose to call this one maybe assets, maybe where we save our colors and all, right? Assets. So I can put another rectangle. And the beautiful thing is that you can always switch between that. So it helps you to create multiple layers of design files. For example, maybe this would be your default canvas for creating your designs, and then this is where you place the designs that are ready for development. And we can call this one assets, where we save our colors. Assets. It's where we save our colors and typography and all. Then you can have another page. The reason I'm able to create more than 3 pages is because this is just a personal file. If once I share it, right? Once I share this file and invite someone to the file, it will now be limited to only 3 pages for me, because it's now a team file, right? It becomes a team file. So, but let's continue. Let's go back to our practice file and start doing introduction to the design tool. So on the bottom panel here, you have the main design tools or Figma tools that you can use to explore and design a whole lot of things. And you have the drop downs that have other designs attached. I mean, other tools attached. You have this one. So whenever you see a drop down icon in Figma, just know that it has more options for you to explore, right? So starting here, you can see that this one is highlighted. This one is called the Move To. Move To basically helps you to move elements. You can see the icon. It basically helps you to remove elements around your designs. You can see the one moving it. Then when you click on the drop down, you're going to see the hand tool. Some people call it pan tool. I think in Photoshop, it's called pan tool. It helps you to pan around your design. So it's called hand tool in Figma. You can see the icon looks like a hand. So basically helps you to move around your canvas. The Move tool helps you to move your elements around your canvas, but the pan tool helps you to move around your canvas. So let's say you have maybe like some hidden elements in your design. You can use the pan tool, right, to move around and find them. Then you have the scale tool. The scale tool basically helps you to scale your elements proportionally, right? You can scale them proportionally, and then you can see you are scaling them proportionally means that it's scaling on the top, bottom, left, and right. So let's say the scale tool was not selected and I want to scale this element. You can see the shape is being distorted already. You can see the shape is already being distorted because I'm not resizing it proportionally. Another way to resize your element proportionally, right, or on all sides, is by pressing down on Shift and then resizing. You can see I'm resizing this proportionally because I'm pressing down on Shift and the element is not being distorted. So that's it for this tool, for Move Tool, Hand Tool, and Scale Tool. Now you have the Slice Tool. Slice Tool basically helps you to select a section of your design. Don't worry, we'll come back to this particular design or this particular element. So it helps you to select a particular section or a particular part in your design. So maybe like you want to export it, or you want to use it for something. So let's say I want to export this upper part of my design. I can just use the Slice tool, right, to slice it off, and I can then export it. So let's say I want to export it. I can then export slice one. You can see it recognizes that this is a slice. So if I export it, we'll still come back to exporting, but I just want to discuss each tool at one after the other, right? One at a time. So let's say I exported it, so I save the file. Now I can bring it back in, and you can see that the only section that was exported, the only part that was exported is this upper part that I used the slice to separate from others. So I'm just going to delete it and delete all this one. So that's it for this tool. Move to scale tool. Move to hand tool and scale tool, and they also have their shortcuts. For move tool, the shortcut is V. For hand tool, the shortcut is H, and for scale, the shortcut is K. Then you have the section, right? You have the frame. So here, this frame is basically serves as a container, right? With frame, you can place other elements inside the frame. You can see I can choose to maybe like place anything inside my frame. So your frame is what you use to create your mobile designs, your desktop designs, and tablet designs, and others, right? But if you are creating for a specific device size, like a mobile screen or a mobile interface, there are predefined screen sizes that you make use of, right? You don't need to manually create maybe like a screen or maybe like a frame for it. When you just select on your frame, right, that you come to the right side of the screen. Once you select it, this is going to show up on the property panel. Then you're going to see the option for phone. You're going to see the options for tablet. You're going to see the options for desktop screens and others. So we're going to start with phone. So let's say I want to design for a mobile phone. I can select the mobile phone size I want to use. Let's say iPhone 16 Pro, and then I can use it to create my designs, right? You can see I'm designing for the mobile interface, right? And you can see I've designed for the mobile screen. So let's say I want to design for tablet. I select the tablet screen size. You can see iPad mini 8.3 stuff, and I can design for tablet, right? I can design for tablet and then stuff. How I'm duplicating, I'm holding down on Alt and then dragging the element. You can also Control C, Control V, and then your element, Control V, and place your elements in your designs, right? So whichever one works for you, it's better. And if I'm designing for desktop screen, I just come here and select a desktop screen that I want to. This one I want to use desktop 1040 by 1080. One of the best practices for using these screens or for designing for specific sizes, for specific device sizes, if you are designing for mobile, extend the screen on the horizontal axis. Like, don't extend the width of the screen. Like, if I extend this has already been dotted, right? And the device size has been altered because this is no longer iPhone 16 Pro device size based on its width, right? So you don't tamper with the width of the device that you've selected. You can extend the length or the height of this design because your designs are typically stacked vertically on mobile, right? And horizontally, but in rare occasions because you have maybe like minimal space to maximize creating for the mobile screen or the mobile interface. So you can extend your screens by dragging. You can see it from top to bottom. Don't extend the screen, extend the width of your screen. You can extend the height or the length of the screen so that you can put as many information as you want to put on design. Then the same thing applies to tablet. You can extend the width, right? Extend the width. Same thing applies to your desktop screen. If this desktop screen size is more for you, there are other screen sizes that you can explore. You have 1980, you have other ones like 1728, 1512. Like, if all these other ones are more for you, you can then use like your 1920, right? Your 1920 by 1080. And also extend the height of your desktop screen. So you can extend it to as long as you want, depending on what you are trying to visualize. One of the reasons you might want to use maybe like a bigger screen size but this is a standard size you can use for desktop screen. But one of the reasons you can use a bigger screen size is maybe when the data you are visualizing is large, when you're visualizing a very large data and you need as much space as you can to make sure that everything is well accounted for, everything is well captured, right? That's why you can use it. So that's it for the frame. Your frame serves as a container that you can use to house other elements. For example, if I want to create a button, I can just draw my rectangle. Probably I want to make the size of the button 32 and the width probably 100, right? And I then put my text. I can call this button, and then put the text inside, and I've created a button. So I can choose to style it. I can say the corner radius can be 16, and then the background can be this color, and I've created it with a frame, right? So it basically serves as a container. You can see how we're able to use the mobile frame to create designs for the mobile interface and the tablet. So that's it for frame. We are still going to explore other properties of frame as we progress. Yeah, I forgot to mention, you can rename your frames, right? You can rename your frame. I basically clicked on Ctrl+Z, right, to bring back what I deleted. You can rename your frame either by double clicking on the right side. I can call this one maybe like let's call this one sample. I'll call this one sample either by doing that or also by double clicking here and then renaming it. So we can call this one double click and call this one mobile, and this one we can call it tablet, and this one instead of desktop one you can say okay, to just call it desktop, and you can see I've renamed it. And one of the beautiful things that helps you to naming your files or your elements or your screens helps you to identify which screen is which, right? It will be weird if you are like trying to find a particular design and you are seeing frame 35 or frame 10,280 or something like that, because the more frames you create, the more the number increases. So for example, we have frame 2 here. If I keep creating frames, you can see, just be looking at it and see frame 4, frame 5, frame 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and it can get as large as like 10,000 or something, depending on how large the design or the project that you're working on is, right? So moving on, so we have the frame, we have the section 2, right? We have the section 2. Section 2 basically helps you to organize your flows in design, right? So let's say I'm going to select the frame and maybe like select some mobile screens, the iPhone 16. So let's say you have maybe like onboarding flow for your design, 1, 2, 3, right? Call this one just for example. So let's say we have this one here, have this at the bottom, so we can just differentiate the screens basically. Let's say we have this and then want to hand it over to, or want anybody or anyone who is visiting this file to know that this is an onboarding flow within a section, and then we can rename the section to maybe like onboarding, right? There are many ways, or there are more than one way to create a section. So I can just select these elements as well and duplicate. I can select them and then come to left side of the screen, right? I can come to the left side of the screen here and say wrap in a section, and then it will wrap them in a new section. You can see it has wrapped them instead of me having to maybe like draw the frame manually. I can just select flows I want and then wrap them in a frame. I can also rename this as well, like to onboarding. Your flows are organized in different sections. It will be easy for anyone who is coming to this file or who is going to view this file to actually identify each of the flows. Let me say this one is for login. Like at a glance, you know that this flow and all the screens that are on this, that are in this section, they are for onboarding. They are the onboarding flows, and the ones here are the login flows. And it helps to simplify the handoff process for developers, right? And let's say this design is ready, you can just mark it as for dev, right? So if we had access to this now and view this, you notice that when a developer comes, they are going to view this one and know that this particular flow, right, or these particular screens that are here, they are ready for development, right? So moving on, that's it for section. We've already talked about the slides too. I don't know why. Okay, I think we jumped. So we've already talked about the slides too. Then you have the shape tools here. The shape tool basically helps you to create shapes for your design, starting with the rectangle tool, right? To create a rectangle, just select this and draw on your design. To create a perfect square or to create any perfect shape, just click down on shift and then drag your element and you get a perfect shape, depending on what that shape is. Or you can just click on your design and then you can see that the shape is the same size across all dimensions. So, and you can scale it right to the size that you want. So creating a perfect shape, clicking down on your shift key to draw, or probably just selecting the element and tapping, and then you create a perfect shape. Property for a rectangle is the same for a square. The only difference is that they don't have the same dimension, right? So for a rectangle, if you notice this dots at the edge for you, it's called the radius. This is the corner radius, right? So once I increase it, you can see the value increasing here, right? You can see corner radius. You can make it rounded, right? You can make it rounded, you can make it sharp, whichever one you want. You can also edit the value on here. So I can choose to, I can say, I want the corner radius maybe like 50, and I impute the values here. You can see the corners are kind of curved now, and they are not looking as sharp as they were initially, right? So some of the properties that you can modify here are the width, right? You have the width, basically increasing the width of the shape. You can do that here. If you have a specific number, you can type it in. You can say, I want the width to be maybe like 750. You can see the width has been reduced. Or you can drag here to increase, like you are dragging to the right to increase and you are dragging to the left to decrease. The same thing applies to the height. You are dragging to the right to increase and you are dragging to the left to decrease. You can also manually type in the value that you want, right? Or you can come here and do that manually. You can increase the size, the height manually, or you can increase the width manually. So that's it for shape, for resizing your shapes. You can also rotate, right? You can also rotate your shape, rotate them. And as you are rotating and editing all this, you are going to see the values. You're going to see the values changing on the right side on your property panel. You can also use this to rotate, you can see. You can also use this to, you can also use this to flip it left and right. So how do we know we are actually flipping? So let me add a stroke to it so that we know that we are flipping. You can see I'm flipping it left and right. If I want to flip it top and bottom, I can add maybe like a top stroke, and then so that we'll know that we are actually flipping, right? You can flip it top to bottom or left and right, whichever one you want to do. So I'm going to eliminate this. We're coming to this. Then you have the fill color. Right, you have the fill color. Appearance can help you to hide or give visible. You can hide or make it visible. That's for appearance. You can also increase the opacity. How opaque do you want the shape, right? Do you want this to see through? Do you want users to see through this shape? So let's say we have another shape here that says blue. If I place this now on top of the shape, you will see that the shape is opaque. That means you cannot see through it. But if I reduce the opacity, right? The opacity, you can see that I'm able to see through this shape. I'm able to see through this one because the value, the opacity value has been reduced, right? So that's it. And we have, I think I deleted the format shape. Let's make use of this one. Then we have the fill color. You can see the way I open this and then change the color, right? So you can change it from the color palette here and update the color, select any one you want and put it there. You can also put the hex code or maybe like the particular color code. I can make it solid color or a linear color. So I can choose to maybe like modify this and make it linear, right? You can see I've added another color, which is now making it look more presentable or more beautiful, right? I can choose to remove the color. I can choose to press Ctrl Z. You can choose to add an image into the shape. So, and you can see I've actually added an image. You can choose to add a video, but to be able to add a video with a free account, you will need to upgrade to a professional account to be able to add a video, right? Then you have different color styles like the radial, angular, and this thing. So I can choose to make it radial. That means the color, the primary color is coming from the middle. Then I can choose to make it angular. It creates some form of angle, right? Angle dimension for the colors. You can also add more colors both on the radial color or maybe like on the let's say just click to add colors as many as you want, and all these colors you can update them to your desired one. You can see you can choose to modify this one as well. You can see I'm creating really nice stuff. I'll make this one brighter, and at the end of the day you're just going to do something amazing by just exploring or modifying some of these colors. This looks like an image, but it's actually color. You can make it diamond, right? That means you want it to be in form of a diamond shape or something like that, right? So this is it. Just combining the colors make you create something really nice. So that's it for colors. I'm going to take it back to solid color and remove all these other ones. And you have stroke. You saw me earlier adding stroke just for us to see that we can flip it. So, and you can have the stroke inside, you can have it outside. You can also have like independent strokes. So let's say you don't want to have stroke on all sides of the shape. You can have the shape stroke at the top, bottom, left, right, or something. You can also choose to have a custom stroke. So let's say you just want to have it on the left and at the bottom. You can see I have stroke here, and I can then modify the radius and then we'll create something nice, right? So whichever one you do, you can also modify the stroke colors just like we did for the fill, right? The fill color, you can also do that for this. And one thing is that you can, to add a color, to add an additional color, just click on this plus icon and you can do that. To remove a color, just click on this, or to hide, I'm going to press Ctrl Z. To hide, you can hide it. Hiding means that the color is still there, but you're not making it visible. The removal means that you're taking it out entirely, right? So that's just the difference between the two. Then have effects. I'm going to take off this so we can see the effects. We don't need the stroke. You have effects, you have your drop shadow, you have your layer blur and background blur. So let's start from, and you have your inner shadow. So let's start from drop shadow. So let's say I want to create an elevated view for this. That means something that makes it look as if elevated, right? Let's say I want to create an elevated view for it. I can just add the drop shadow to it. So let me place it on a white background so we can see it, right, very well. So let's say I want to create an elevated view. It's already having, but I think this is kind of too big. To reduce it so we can see what we're working with. Corner radius can maybe like 32, and then we can reduce it a little bit more because the color is fat, and you can see the shadow is beginning to show. So some of the properties of the shadow, you have the position, where do you want the shadow to be. If you want it to be on the x-axis, then you give it a value. If you want the shadow to be on the y-axis, you can also give it a value. Or if you want it to be on the x-axis alone, you can eliminate the value for the y-axis. But I want them to be on both. And you can have multiple shadow options here. Have multiple shadows in one shape. So we are going to see that. And see now we only have shadows on the positive y and x axis. What if you want for the negative y and x axis. That means the top section, the top part of this and the left side of this. So we can add another shadow, right? And then instead of us having a positive 8, we can say negative 8. And then the same thing, you can say, I'm not saying that 8 is only the value that you can use for your shadows, and just need to balance for others. Now that's it for position. Then you blur. How smooth do you want the shadow to be? You can see this one was not blurred, but these ones have been blurred. You can see the x and negative x and y axis have been blurred. You can see how smooth these ones are compared to these ones that have not been blurred. Though they have a little blur, these ones have a little blur of 4. These guys have more blur, which is 38 compared to what these other ones have. Then you have spread. How far do you want it to be from the shape itself or from the element that you're trying to add the shadow to? Most times I don't advise people to have this spread, except if you are trying to create something unique. So let's say you have this guy here, let's say you have this here, and then you have your effects, let's say shadow, and then you want to use that shadow to create something that looks like a shape under, or maybe that looks like an outline, right? So I can say I want the spread to maybe like 40, and you can see it takes it across. So I don't want to blur it. Let's remove the blur. You can see it makes it look like another shape that this one is inside. So if I make this even more darker, you can see, if I don't tell you, you assume that this one that is out there is another shape and this is another shape on its own. But on rare occasion, will you need that, right? Will you really need that? So let's take it back to 0. I think I'm going to, we can also modify this, like the opacity. How dark do you want, or how visible do you want the shadow to be, right? So let's say I'm modifying the shadow. Most times it's always good for you to create a modern feel. It's always good for you to use like a subtle shadow, like soft shadow that is not that visible. You can see this is elevated but soft, right? I want to make these ones blur as well. Let's make it the same value as others so you can just be consistent. You can see the shadow is very soft and modern. Another way to elevate your shadows or make it more modern is to make, like, using shadow doesn't mean that you must use black for your shadows. You can use the color of your shape, right? So let's say I can make this the color of my shape. I can make this shadow the color of my shape, then reduce the opacity to the same time, and you notice that it's even more softer than it was looking initially. So I can do the same for this. So let's pick the color and then reduce the opacity to 10. And you can see everything is looking nice. It might not really reflect it because this is a very large screen. If you were designing for a smaller screen or whatever context you are designing for, it's going to really show. And if you are not satisfied, you can make it maybe like 15, right? If you really want it to show very well, you can make it maybe like 15, depending on the size of the element you're putting the shadow on. But this course or this video is not for shadows. You've spent so much time in shadows. So let's move on. That's it for shadows. You have inner shadows as well, right? You have inner shadow as well. Inner shadow basically is what it's called. So I can change this back to probably black so that we can see, and this one as well, you can change it back to one of the beautiful thing about inner shadow is that it helps you to create a 3D kind of feel for your element. You can see as I'm increasing this now, you can see this is beginning to change from a very flat design to a 3D like. You can see it's now beginning to give it some kind of 3D dimension feeling or something. So initially when we didn't have this, the design was looking flat. Compare this to this one. So sometimes people really use it to create a 3D like design or something. So I can choose to make this, take it to the lighter part, just to just use this and create some kind of feeling or something like that. It gets much better, right? I've seen some designers create some cool stuff using these properties, right? Using these shape properties. There are a whole lot to creating those things, right? But we're not going to go deep into that. So that's it for inner shadows. Then you have layer blur. So in a situation where you want to create some kind of blur for your element, layer blur is what you are going to use. So let's say you are creating something. Let's take a mobile screen and you want to create maybe like a blur, or maybe like a gradient fill. You want to use the gradient fill that we just explored earlier. You can use this. You can use this blur property. So let's say I have this one. You can see I've created like a very nice gradient that is flowing from, and it's so smooth, right? It's flowing from this. I can add another one as well. So let's say I want to add something like, what color will feel nice? Now this is weird. Now this is off. So let's add orange. Yeah, I think orange is closer. You can see it's kind of creating this mixture of gradient blend on this design, and we just created that using shapes and the layer blur. So just try to explore some of these things and see what works with the background. For background blur, it's really not going to show here, but let me show you how background blur works. You can really use background blur to create cool stuff, right? So let's say you have this here. We can call this one maybe like home. Let's say you have this one here, and then you have another one here. Just work with me. Right? You have another one here. Maybe you have a text center. We can call it title. Right? Different use cases for that. And then you have this element here. And the thing there is that you want to see through it. We can see through it because the opacity is 100%, but let's just make it 80%, but let's make it 100%. And you want to see through it. First, you will need to reduce the opacity. Maybe let's reduce the opacity to 30, right? But what we have here looks so plain, right? Kind of, okay, we've already added background. What we have here looks so plain and bland, right? To make it look more interesting and look as if it's a glassy feel, that is where the background blur can come in. So if I add effect and go to background blur and then blur it out, right? You can see every other thing that is under it is now looking blurred out, right? Depending on how blurry I want it to look, it's not looking blurred out, and it's not giving it this kind of glassy feel, right? You can see glassy feel on the design, right? I'm not even able to see the text. I can maybe like reduce it a little so it won't be too much, right? I want to be able to see the text. Let's say I want to do 20, right? So I should be able to see the text, but you can go as far. You can go with a larger number if you want, but I just want mine to be like this. You can use any color for this. You can use white, and you can say it's looking nice. So let's say the background of this stuff here is maybe like black. You can see it's now beginning to bring everything together. And let's say the text is white, right? It's beginning to bring everything together. So that's it for background blur. You can use this thing to create amazing stuff, maybe like your bank card or something. And if you want to make it more interesting, you can do 16 here. Make it more interesting, you can add stroke, maybe like make the stroke radiant, and then from one part, some people call this glass morphism kind of feel for your design. So I have this 100%. Don't know why it's showing this. So you can see you have this really nice. You can place you can get text and place on it, bring it to the front, I don't really want this video to be too long, but I'm sure it's going to be an hour plus because we've discussed at length some topics at length. I'll say write your name here, your name here, and then reduce the size again. I think this is too big. Make it 16. Just place your elements and use it where you want to use them. Right, so I can bring this one to the top, and you can see we used background blur to create this amazing glassy feel of a card, right? So that's it. Then moving on, that's it for your rectangle. Okay, we have a rectangle here. Your shape, basically, because you can use this, you can, some of these properties, you can achieve them with most of these shapes that are here, right? Then that's it for the effect. Then export is basically exporting, but we'll come back to that. Another shape we'll explore is the line shape. Just basically helps you to draw a line, and then you can change the end point, right? So let me increase the size so we can see it changing. So you can change the end points how you want it to be. Do you want it to be rounded and stuff on both sides or on one side, whichever one you prefer, right? You can change stroke size. You can see stroke size. You can change the stroke size. You can say if you want it to be at the center or maybe, I don't really know. Most times the difference don't really show, but I think there's something there too, but that's not what we're exploring now. So you can change the color, right? You can change the color. Because this is a stroke, there's no need for you to add a fill to it. Another thing you can do to shoot this stroke is that you can turn it into a shape, right? For example, I can say outline stroke, and then this has become a shape. You can see it has become a shape. I've changed it from just being a line stroke to a shape. And I can add another stroke to it because it's already a shape. It has a fill, and I can add all the properties that I can use for a rectangle. I can add it for this particular shape line that we converted to a shape. Then you have arrow. Arrow has the same property as it, just like it comes with a predefined endpoint that you can modify, just like you can modify a shape and others. You can even choose to have none, and you've taken it back to the default line that we drew earlier, right? So all the properties of the line, the arrow tool also has it. Then you have ellipse, right? The ellipse tool helps you to draw a circle, right? If you want to draw a perfect circle, you can click down on shift and draw, or you can just click it and drop, and then you can scale the shape by pressing down on shift, or maybe like using the scale tool to scale it. And you have the ellipse tool as well. If you don't want to get a perfect circle, you can just draw it and you get like an oval shape like this. One of the beautiful things about this is you can use it to create your charts. You can use it to create a lot of things. So for example, if you take a look at it, you have like a dot here. If you open up that dot, you get access to other ones. So how it was, you just drag it up, click on the dot and drag it up to open it on. You have access to other dots that help you to modify the shape. So this one is sweep. How do you want it? Do you want how full? Do you want the arc or the pie to be, right? How full do you want it to be? Do you want it to be very full? Do you want it to be like this, right? How then this one ratio, what is the ratio you want to use? Do you want it to be covered? Do you want it to be tiny or like this, medium? Then start, where do you want the opening to start? Do you want it to start here? Just rotate it and put it whatever angle you want it to start. So now, for example, let's use it to create a simple pie chart, right? I'm going to close up this, close it up so we can create a simple pie chart. So I'm going to sweep this one. We have this, and then we can copy and paste and then rotate it. Or we can use the sweep tool and then move it, and then use this one to rotate here, right? So that we can be on the same angle. Then rotate this one as well, move this one a little bit. Then we change the color so we see that we are actually like moving. Then this one we can Ctrl C and Ctrl V again, then sweep we can change the start point, then sweep. Maybe we want this one to be bigger, then Control C and Control V again, then change the start point. Once we get here or to the distance, then we reduce this one if we want it to maybe like be this size. So let's give them different colors, right? So these are different pie colors that represent whatever data that you are trying to track. So you can see we moved from that simple circle that we had to this more complex one that is used to represent a particular, like some data, right? So that's it for the ellipse tool. You can, every property that you can use on this rectangle in terms of fill, stroke, effects, and all, you can use it on the circle tool, right? On the ellipse tool, sorry. Then you have the polygon. The polygon helps you to achieve different shapes of different sizes, right? So, and the default shape for the polygon is the triangle with 3 sides. This is the smallest polygon that you have, which is a triangle is the smallest polygon. So a polygon is a shape with multiple sides, right? It can be maybe like a form of, it can be a pentagon, it can be a nonagon, it can be a decagon, that means with 10 shapes, with 10 sides, sorry. So you can increase the size by using this dot here. This dot is for you to increase the count. So if I want to increase the count, I just drag it up. You can see 4 sides, 5 sides, 6 sides, 7 sides, 8, and you keep doing that till you keep increasing till you get to maybe like 0. I think once you get to count 60, it becomes a 0. I mean, it becomes a circle, not 0. It becomes a circle. But the difference between this is that this circle has all the properties of a polygon, but this is a complete circle, right? This polygon, this circle in form of a polygon, this polygon in form of a circle doesn't have the property of this circle or this ellipse tool, but they look alike. They're not the same, right? So they are different. It's just the count that made this one look as though it's a circle, right? You can even use this in your prototype as well, right? You can even use it to prototype some effects, right? But we're not going to go into that. Then the next shape that you have is the star tool, right? The star shape. You can use it to create things. It also has counts. If you want to increase the number of stars that it has, you can increase it. You can say increase or decrease it, increase and decrease it. You can increase the ratio, how in or out you want it to be. I'm sure you guys must have seen some design that have like nice star effects and all, right? This is how you create them. How rounded you want the edges to look, right? You can choose that. You can make this one in, then make the edges rounded, and you create something really nice. Just really modifying these tools to create modifying these shapes to create amazing things. The another one is the image tool, right? You basically an image from my tool, and if you have like a shape where you want to place the image, you just click it on it, and then you have your image placed in it. You can see that the face of this guy is hiding. One of the ways we can use to modify that is use the crop tool, right? And then reposition this guy that he can fit into our shape properly. So you can see we reposition him. We can also resize him by pressing down on Shift and then dragging the edges of this image in this place. And you can see we have a nice looking image of a guy in a style, in a star something, right? And we can also, even with that, we can also still modify. You can see, keep modifying it. You can increase it and decrease it. You can make this thing more like this, or you can reduce it. Whichever one, you can still modify this, but it's looking awkward actually. Another way to bring an image into your file, right, is maybe like just typing randomly. You can say image, just type image, just type image and then open up your image, and then we can bring in an image into the file. So let's say I want to use this one. So just copy the image and then bring it in. You can see we brought in an image, right? So what if in a situation where we bring this image in and then want to put it inside this ellipse tool? One of the ways you can do that is using your mask tool, right? So I'm going to place this image on top. If the shape is on top of the image, what you can do is to select the image and bring it to top. But make sure that the element you want to place inside the shape is at the top of that particular shape you want to place it in, right? So I'm going to select the tool. You can see the ellipse tool is selected, the ellipse shape is selected, and the image is selected. So I go here. I told you guys that the two panel is divided in two. You have the bottom two panel and you have the one on the right here. So I'm going to open it up and look for marks, right? To use as marks. I want to mark the image, and you can see I've put it inside. The beautiful thing about this approach and then placing image inside is that I can just go in here and then modify my image. Whilst on this one, I will need to go to the crop tool to modify it. Another way to bring an image into your design is just maybe like putting an image into a shape. You just maybe like going, copying the image. If you are bringing it externally from an external, platform, just copy it and paste, right? Now, this is not the same as this one because this, I can just click in and then increase. Modify this. To modify this particular one, it will require the same step as we used here. So we need to go in here and then select the crop tool to modify, right? You can see modify it. So each time we need to edit it, we need to come here and then modify it. Another way to bring an image, remember we talked about plugins, right? There are some plugins that will help you to pull up images faster without leaving your Figma. So one of them is Unsplash, right? Just type Unsplash and then select image, right? I can put an image directly from Unsplash. Sorry, it's loading. It has loaded. So you can search type of image that you want, or you can select from any of these defined categories. So I can say business, and then I can select any of the business images that are here. So I can say, okay, I like this one. Once you click on it, it's going to load the image into your file, right? And then you can place it wherever you want, right? You can place it wherever you want. You can see the image has been loaded into this file. Another way is, let's say you want to place it into a shape. It can be any shape. Let's draw multiple shapes, like different types of shapes. That is, you can draw another one, maybe like a polygon, a triangle, sorry. Then maybe like a star. Let's just have one. So I can select this, place this one on it, select another one, place the image. So basically, it's easier for you to use an image, right? Very well. Another best practices, right, for using images is that make sure that the image you're using is sharp. Don't use blurry image. It doesn't show that you're a professional. That's number one. Then number two is make sure you use images that don't have watermark on them, right? Because those images are premium and you need to buy their license to be able to use them. And when you buy the license, you will not have watermark on them. But if an image has a watermark, don't use it in your design. There are some legal issues that can come up on that, right? So that's it for the image tool, and we are done with this section. So come here and then practice. Just try to draw things on here. Now, we have the pencil tool and we have the pen tool. Let's talk about the pencil tool. So pencil tool helps you to basically sketch out your ideas faster, or sketch out things, or just draw custom shapes, right? Or just draw, right? It helps you to draw. So you just basically use the pencil tool to draw. If I want to draw a cup of tea now, I can draw it. Sorry, I'm using my mouse. That's why this thing is not clean as it should. You can see, can draw it, can draw this, and voila, I have my, so this is the stuff that where I placed it, right? And nice, this is a very nice cup of tea, right? So you can use it to draw like beautiful, beautiful custom shapes. Even when you are designing, you can just draw wiggly things. You just add like element of surprise or something like that. You can use it to draw anything that you want to draw, right? Basically anything. So some people are really good with drawings. Like there are sometimes that you need like custom shape or something like that you don't need it to be perfect. You just want to add that element of fun to your design. Your pencil tool can help you to achieve that. Now we can talk about the pen tool. The pen tool basically helps you to draw some custom shapes, because when you take a look at all these shapes, they kind of feel it, and there are sometimes when you're designing that you will need more than these tools that are listed here. So the pencil tool is a tool that helps you to draw those custom shapes that you might need. So for example, I want to draw an illustration of a chair, right? I want to draw a chair. Pencil tool can help me to achieve that. So let's say I want to draw a chair. I remember how to draw it, okay, yeah? Just a simple chair. I draw this, then next one, I draw this, I draw another one. It's been long, I drew something, right? Then I have the legs. Nice. So I have the legs as well. I take it to the top, and then I have another leg here, right? Take it to the top. I mean, there is a better way to draw this thing, obviously, but we're just trying to show you what you can achieve with this amazing tool, right? So this one should be in form of 3D like stuff, yeah. So because it's not as flat as this, so this one as well should be in 3D form, and this one as well, right, should be in 3D form. I did a little bit of drawing when also in terms of perspective, this should be smaller, yeah, and then it should have maybe like some kind of 3D feel as well. So we have this, but this chair doesn't feel balanced, but we'll manage it like that. So let's say we have this chair and then we've drawn it. You can choose to give it a color, right? You can choose to give it a color. What if in a situation where you don't want to use the same color because it's looking weird like this? There is no way that you are seeing shadows and everything. It just looks plain and weird, right? So that's where this tool comes in, right? Your edit tool. If you want to edit a shape, right, you can double click into it and then edit it, or you can select this like edit object tool here, and then you go into the editing part. As I said earlier, your tools, some tools will show based on what you selected. If you notice these three items here, these three tools were not showing when we selected this one. So before we selected this one, it was after we selected this that they started showing. So what this one does is that it helps you to maybe like modify the corners of your design. If I click on this one to give it a rounded edge, you can see I'm able to create this. Can even go as far as creating this. Let's go back. If I select it again and click on this one, it's going to distort the shape. I'm not sure it wants to do anything to that, right? So, but I like the way the top is curved now. So let's say we want them to have different colors, maybe like the legs to have different color, the top here and this one. So yeah, we will do it with this bucket tool here, paint bucket. It helps us to fill specific colors for each of them. So let's start with the legs. So I can choose this one, and then the fill, we modify the fill. We can make it let's make it maybe like brown, and make it brown and copy the hex color because we're going to use it for this one. So copy this one and then paste it here as well. Pick the hex code here, right? Pick the hex code, but because this is showing under, remember when you are drawing all these things, shadows matter a lot, so it's going to look darker. Then this one is at the back as well, so we're going to be needing this darker one as well, and this one is at the front, right? So this one, fill it again, and then we're going to use the lighter one, right, which is this. You can see light is shining over here. Then this one as well, this one is at the back. Basically, it's going to be a little bit darker, so we use this dark one. Then this one where the light is showing, yeah, we can use the lighter version because the light is basically coming from here. Oh, I'm not sure we got this one where, so this one look darker because it's at the back, right? This one is at the back, so we select the dark one. Then this one that is at the front, we need to make it lighter because since light is coming from here, the rays are going to be reflecting it. The same thing with this place is going to be darker. I know all these things are not necessary, but I just wanted to touch on it, right? So that you can see how you can use the pen tool to create some custom nice shapes. I know this one is just weird, but let's just manage it. So we are done with the table legs, and you can see it's coming out nice. Now let's talk about the top. So the top, because the sun ray, so let's talk about the top. We need to also modify the color by selecting it. Use this paint bucket to give it a color of its own, right? So I'm going to, because the sun is going to be shining more on it, we're going to make it a little bit lighter than others, right? Or we can even make it black, make it a little bit darker, or let's just make it that same color, right? So it will look more presentable. We're going to make it a little bit darker because this is basically the top, right? And then you have this one, the back part. So paste it again, right? And then voila, we have a nice looking chair. But this one, let's talk about it. This one at the top here, let's select this one here. I think we can make it a little bit lighter, but not as light as this bottom part. And we have a nice chair. You can see the way we've been able to use this pen tool, just that we can use to draw maybe like regular line, to draw like a custom shape. Like you can use this pen tool to draw amazing things, right? So we can choose to remove the stroke just to give it a smooth transition. So this is a nice drawn chair, right? Whatever you call that. So that's it for pen tool. Then you have the text tool. Text tool basically helps you to type text, to add text to your designs. You can see you can increase the size here. You can see like I did, you can increase the size or decrease the size. You can change the text style or the font style, right? You can choose to make it thin, regular, medium, depending on the weight that you want to use. So you can choose to change the weight of the design. You can, the text. You can choose to change the text, the typeface. That means you can choose another text. Let's say you want to use maybe like, let's use script font so that you can see the difference. So you can see text. We've moved from that plain looking one to this handwritten text. So depending on the text style you want to use, that will also determine it. So that's it for text. You can add color, and change the color. Basically everything that you can do. I'm sure by now you understand how we can add colors to our text and everything, right? You can add effects and then you can choose to make the text separate or thin. You can choose, if we had like other text here, let's say, we have like other ones. Let's say I wanted to spell my name, but let's say continue, text continue, right? And you want to increase the distance between them. That's where your line height comes in, right? You can increase or decrease the line height, whichever one you want. But I'm going to change the text style. Let's put it back to enter, right? let's select that 20 so we can see this much faster. So you can increase the text height, reduce it, and or you can see if the line height is not specified, it's just going to wrap like this, right? So you can separate the text depending on what you're creating though. But the most basic use is increasing the size, changing the colors, and modifying. You can even use gradient as well. Anything you can do, you can just explore things and see what works. So I can choose to make this, and you can see the text is beginning to look beautiful, right? So I can even make it bolder, and you can see that it's coming out much better. So that's it for the text tool. Then you have the comment tool. It basically helps you to leave comments around your designs, or maybe to collaborate with your team. So let's say like a team member comes to this design and they have like a feedback for you. They can leave their feedback, right? Feedback here. And each time you come to this file, you will see the feedback and attach an image and then send it to them, right? So when they come, they can preview it, right? Preview the image and the comments that you left with the image, right? So that's the beautiful thing about comment. And when you guys have resolved it, you can mark it as resolved and the text will disappear, or and the comment will disappear. Then you have this section over here. If you were using the Pro version, this section has also been converted to the AI tool. We're going to talk about it. Let me switch to my professional account so we can talk about everything together. So I've switched to my Figma professional account. As you can see, that free that we had on this left side is gone. So I think we're using light mode earlier. So I'm just going to switch. To switch to light mode on your design file, just come to this icon here and then select preferences. Come to this side here and select references and then theme, then either dark or light mode. So I'm just going to select the light mode, and we are on the light mode. So continuing, if you notice what the icon we had here on the free account is looking different from. So this one is the AI icon, and this is where you're going to have access to like multiple actions and the AI tools, right? So for example, you have the rename layers. One of the beautiful thing about this is, let's say you have like multiple screens that are not named. So let me select iPhone 16 Pro again, and then we duplicate this, and this. You are saying, as you can see, we have iPhone 16 Pro, this, and then we have maybe like elements inside them. Let's make this one black. Just going to randomly create frames, right? You can see frame 1, 2, and then I'm going to duplicate them here. I can just maybe like add text to it. So I can call this one text, or I can just call this one name. I'll call this one name. Let me increase the size, and this one can be maybe like email, and maybe like I just want to put text there so that it will recognize what it does, and phone number. So I'm going to have them. I'm going to have it randomly placed around this screens, right? Then these guys, I can give it another color. Let's try to use color more often so that the design can come alive a little bit. And then this one I can have it here, and then this one here. We have a different color for this. Sorry, I'm designing with shape, but I just have to design with shape so that we can be fast and to avoid this video from being longer than it already is, right? Because the video is really long. So we have like a random screens here, and then we select them. To rename layers, just select the screens that you want to rename the layers on, and then click on rename layers, and just watch here where you have frame 1, frame 2, and frame 3. You can see container. So we had frame 1, frame 2, frame 3, frame 4. and the rest. So you can see here it has renamed it to container, and then text, phone number, and this one container, this one container, because this is a frame, right? If I had like a rectangle here, like a rectangle, you notice it won't call it a container because a rectangle is not a container. So let's say I have this rectangle and I say rename layers. Just it will point out the one that doesn't have, you can see background. You can see it has changed it from that rectangle one to background, right? Because that's just basically the name you can give to it in this context because it's just there, right? It's just the background that is there. So that's it for renaming layers. You can really use this to do a lot. So instead of you wasting a lot of time trying to rename your layers and all, you can use this Figma AI tool or AI feature and rename your layers. Doesn't mean that like every time you use it that it comes out right, that the name it gives to your elements are always right. There are some times that you need to modify some certain things by yourself, right? So, but at least at the basic level, it does a good work to start with, then you can then modify it from there. The next feature for AI is first draft or maybe interaction. Let's try the interaction, then we'll go to create image and shorten, and then we go to first draft. So make image, remove background. This one is image editing. I think we just do it one after the other. Design tools. This one is writing, what's it called? For writing, and modifying your text. This one is image editing. So let's take them one after the other. I'm not going to jump. So first draft, we've done renaming layers. And then we have the first draft. So first draft basically helps you to generate the first version of your idea. Like, for example, you have a prompt. I have this prompt, like I want to create an e-commerce platform, right? And I don't even know how to get started with, or maybe I don't even know how to start. Figma first draft is a very big tool that you can use to get started, right? Just write your prompt. Like, for example, we have this prompt here: generate a homepage design for an e-commerce mobile app where users buy sports shoes. They should have the option to filter and search. So, but before you start your prompt, you need to select which platform you want to use, right? Do you want it to be a mobile app? Do you want it to just be a wireframe? Maybe just like structure. You want to capture the structure. You don't want to focus on aesthetics, right? You want to a basic site, that means a website, a desktop frame, or do you want site wireframes or something like that? Whichever one you choose, that will determine the output it's going to give you. So with this prompt that we have here, we're looking to get a homepage of a mobile app where shoes are sold, right? So I'm going to select basic app, and then I'm going to copy this prompt and then paste for it to generate. So once I copy, I'm going to select on make it, and you can see it working. It's going to generate a mobile screen homepage for us. If you have like different flows for the UI you are expecting, you will need to do the prompts one after the other, right? And then do that. So looking at this now, I'm not sure I like the output I'm getting, because I want to have like list of shoes, right? I want to have like list of shoes, and then maybe like filter option should be at the top, then shoes will be at the bottom. So let's the changes again. Let's go back and then paste the prompt. Generate a homepage design for an e-commerce platform where users buy shoes. Should I modify this now? Generate a homepage design for an e-commerce mobile app where users buy sports shoes. Okay, they should be able to have like a filter option. Let's make it specific for women and kids, and there should be a search and a search option. The design should have list of multiple shoe options users and select from. The shop price should be a drop down icon. Okay, I will copy this in case we need to modify. So let's make another update again and see if it modifies it. Okay, I think it's making changes, but we are not beginning to see it here. So this is not working. I'm going to delete it because this is not what we want. So we want to make it again. So one of the things about using all these AI prompts is that they might not actually get what you want and the first trial. So you might need to try it again and again before it actually works. So you can see it now. It's becoming much better. You can see the prompt is much better than what we had initially. You can see here we have list of products, but this one I didn't get what I actually wanted. I wanted like a filter option at the top, but we can do that. We can modify that. Yeah. So I think I'm okay with the I think I'm okay with this. I don't know. I don't like this navigation panel because how do we know if this one is the active one and this is the active one? We can modify it, right? We can modify it and maybe eliminate the circle. Yeah, it's not needed. Can eliminate it and then use the same color for this, for that. So it shows that this is the active one and this is the one that is not active. I think I'm going to ungroup it so that it will be the same on the same layers with others ungroup. Right. I'm going to ungroup it, make it smaller. What's the size of this? This is 24px, so I'm going to make it 24px as well. Right. I'm going to make it 24px and then probably copy the text. Let me bring this out first so we can. I'm just modifying the ID. I'm going to remove this a little bit visible, like 9, okay, white. Then take this off. I'm going to copy this, right? And I'm going to select this. There's a feature called paste to replace. So I want to replace it. I should select paste to replace and I've replaced it, right? Basically centering it so it has the same space with others. Then I'm going to copy this icon that we have here. Copy the icon and then come here as well. The same thing we did. I'm going to paste to replace it. I'm just showing you how you can get started with AI, then modify it to what you want. So this one we can call it market, right? I don't know what this means, but we can call it market because the icon looks like a market space. So now that we have this, I can delete this, one, right? And then reduce the space between them. So the space at the top, I can make it like 16, like it's not too far apart from this. And I'm going to paste it into this guy, right? But before I do that, if I want to, let's take a look at it. Let's preview the design before we start. Yeah, it's showing us now. So if you preview this design, you notice that the bottom part is being scrolled and want it to be fixed, but we can't fix it. The reason is because if you notice here, if you take a look at this page, you can see that this fix option is disabled. The reason is because the container is on auto layout. This particular screen container is on auto layout. We'll get to auto layout. So I'm going to click here to remove the auto layout. And when I click here again and then go here, you can see it's fixed. If we go back to this screen, right? If we go back to our screen, I think it has not updated. So I'm going to fix it. Let's align it to the bottom. And now you can see we can scroll without that. But if you notice, I want us to have maybe like a divider there that shows that, okay, this is where the navigation panel started and this is where it's ending, right? So I'm going to select it and probably give it white, but the white would maybe like 10%, just a subtle line. You can see that cuts across here, so it gives it like that dividing feel. Another thing we can do to improve this is maybe like giving this one, the background, a lighter shade of black, right? You can give the background a lighter shade of black. So first I'm going to remove this pricing option so that we can reduce the screen. I'm going to make this hug content. Don't know what we have here, right? What do we have here? What do we have here? What do we have here? Here. So I'm going to remove this. We don't need it again. There's something that is hiding here that is making this space because it's showing, okay, the reason it's doing that, remember we are just modifying what AI has created for us, and most times it can be a lot of work. That's why most times it's always good for you to create your own thing, right, instead of you to spend minutes or hours modifying what has been designed. So here, I know that we've not done auto layer, but it's like something called minimum height. So the fact that minimum height has been set for this means that it cannot go below this height. It cannot go below this height. So we want to go here and then remove that minimum height, right? Remove the minimum height. And once we remove it, you can see the height of this card has been reduced. So I'm going to reduce this one as well, right? And then we will have maybe like a very presentable screen, right? So another one is that I want this part of the screen, right? I want this section to also be fixed. I don't want it to be scrolling with the element. So what I would do is to also select it and then fix it and then make it fixed, right? So now that I fixed it, I can scroll this element and this one will stay fixed at the top. Also, looking at it, I'm not sure I like this gray reddish background that is there. I want it to be white, right? I want it to have white and then stay like that. As you can see, it's much better like this. It's more cool and subtle. Then I was talking about the background. I want to make the background a little bit lighter than the navigation panel. Or I can make the navigation panel a little bit lighter than the background. So how I can do that, instead of this dark version of black, right, I can use maybe like a lighter gray, like 2121 or something. This one I can eliminate it, and you can see now we have like a much better like looking screen here, right? Even at the top here, I can also make it the same color with this, right? The same color with this, and then we have like a more presentable mobile device. So at the top you have this and they are complementing each other. I think the colors are good. The colors that we have here, they're good. So now we have like a simple version of our idea that we have started with, right? A platform where users can buy shoes and you can filter between men, women, and kids. There are a whole lot that you can do here. Let's say you want to modify an image. That brings us to maybe like creating an image, making an image, right? We've done renaming layers when we rename these frames. I know that they are not looking like actual design, but I just wanted us to see how it works, right? Then let's say you want to modify an image, like an image here, or probably we can duplicate two images here and then create a new one for them. We are going to extend this screen because the images have been extended. So we can select this. Okay, I want to take this one to the top so we can have them mixed. So we can select one image here and then write a prompt for it and say make an image, right? Make image. Oh, no, not make changes, make image. We want to make an image. So the image we want to make is that we can say image of a Nike red shoe on a red, or you can say orange, light orange background. I need to modify the background later, but Nike shoe. So let's write it to letter Nike, an image of a Nike shoe, Nike red shoe on, Nike white, say white shoe on a light orange background. Let's see if it gives us a nice image option. So one of the things you also need to know about generating image with Figma AI is that most times, or most of the images that it generates are might not come out nice, but this one is looking nice. So you can select from list of options. I think I like this one. This one looks a little bit better. There are some times that you might generate an image and it's looking, I think this one looks nice. I don't know the one you guys prefer, but I think between these two, I like the fact that this one has shadows, but the shadow is not kind of realistic. So we can go for this one, right? I like the gradient feel and this one, but this one looks a little bit bolder and it matches the feel of this one as well. So let's go with this. So sometimes the image that you get might not really be that, the resolution might not be good, or maybe the outcome might not really be what you want. You might then repeat the prompt to just make sure you get what you want. Then this second one, I can maybe like prompt it image. Let's make an image again. So I can say image of a Puma but to a light gray background, and just having a mixture of all these things. And you can see that the idea that we just started with just a prompt, we've been able to like get something tangible. You might want to do this for multiple screens, right? That's where the lot of work comes in. If I was designing this, I would have finished designing a long time ago. And you can see this is really nice, right? You can see the shoe options that it suggested. I think the first one is cool. This one as well is also nice, right? On a light gray background. Amazing. So I like this one and I like this one. So this one, the placement complements this one. I can choose to flip it, right? You can choose to flip it and they take this back to the left side. You can use the alignment, this thing to align it again. Take it back to this. And nice, it's looking good. So we've been able to use Figma AI to generate a first draft for our idea, right? And we've been able to use it to generate an image. What if in a situation where you want to remove the background of the image that you're using, right? Let me remove this from a frame. So I think the frame is the image in question. So let's say you want to remove the background of this image. You can do that as well in Figma, right? You can do that as well in Figma. So the feature that you will use is the remove background, and then it's not going to remove the background for you, and then you can add a new background. You can see it has removed the background, and then you can add a new background to it, right? You can say you want to use maybe like a gradient something stuff, and then you use the gradient colors, right? And then we have something like reddish flow in there, right? You can have it here flowing. So this gradient, not sure it's coming out well. Yeah, something like this, or something. You can pick a color from the shoe, maybe this red. I can select the color from there. And that's why if you notice, it's looking like this, what's it called? The color is on the shoe. Yeah, the reason is because when you take a look at the layers here, you can see the color there, and you can see the shoe. This was the original version, like the background. If I close this now, you can see and turn this on, the background is still there in case you change your mind, right? And you want to put it back. So I'm going to drag this under the shoe and then make it visible again. And you can see the shoe is beginning to show much better. So there is a whole lot you can do with Figma AI when you explore. So another thing that you can do with Figma AI is like add interaction, right? So let's say you have like multiple screens here, and you can say this one is maybe like, let's say you have this screen, right? You have this screen here, right? And then under the screen is where you have this one that says select price. I'm going to copy. I've copied it. I want to replace it, right? I replaced it with this one. And here we can do 812 size of the screen, right? So short price or something like that. So instead of having this here, we can copy this. And then replace this one with it. Right, replace this one with it. Hit this guy too, we copy it. Can use Ctrl+C as well. And then you can see this one is the layout is top to bottom, right? That's what it's showing here. I want to make it left and right, and then we want to make it auto so that this space here and this space here will be the same. Then this one we need to delete it because we already have it at the top. So let's say this is the filter option. I think I want to take this off when a user clicks on something. So let's say we have something here, maybe select price. Let's say we have like a text here that says select price. I'm going to make it to ignore auto layout, and I'm going to increase the size to 14, and I'm going to place it here, and I'm going to make it a little bit bolder, right? So let's say we have an image. I think I want to make this cap locks, right? So we'll make it cap locks. These are some of the things you can use to edit your text. And that's the reason I'm touching some of them, so you get to know them, as we might not be able to like cover most of the features. You get to discover some features as you start using the tool, right? But the basic ones and the important ones, I think we've been able to cover a lot of them. So moving on, we want to add interaction to this screen, right? For the first one, we can call this home, and then this one, we can call this one select price. The reason we call it select price is so that Figma will know that, okay, when a user clicks on this select price, it brings them to this screen, right? But I don't know if it's going to work. I'm just gambling here. Let's just try it and see. So I'm going to select these two screens, and then we can click on prototype, add interaction. You can click on add interaction, and you can see it's also in beta and it's beta mode, so it might not really be perfect. You can see, yeah, I think it worked. It was able to like detect that this particular selection should take the user here, and then this is a close icon. When a user clicks on it, it will take the user back to the main screen. So let's see interaction, right? This is our screen that is looking nice. If I click on select price, you can see it has opened this one. If I click on this one now, it's going to take me back, which is amazing. We didn't have to do that. AI did it for us. But there are some things we might need to modify. Like if you take a look at the interaction, it's kind of dry. Everything just moving too quick. Want to make it like when a user clicks, it should be able to slide from the side. So how do we do that? It's under here. Instead of instant, right? Instead of instant, we can say slide in, right? You can see it will slide in from the left and then slide in away from the right again, right? So if I click on this now, you can see it slides in, this one slides in and slides in. So it makes the interaction interesting and fun, right? So that's it for using Figma to generate drafts, using the add interaction tool, removing background, and then modifying your design, right? Your generated design. Another one is maybe like if you want to modify your text, right? So let me grab a text from the internet and then I'll come back. So I copied some text from Figma website, so I'm going to paste it here. I'm creating a text box. So if I paste it now, it's going to show the design, and I'm going to make it a field container or something, right? And then I'm going to align the text. I'm going to make it normal text style, and then we're going to make it regular. So what I've been in a situation where I want to modify this text, right? I want to rewrite this. I can say rewrite this and say let it capture the importance of buying shoes from an online e-commerce platform. So let it capture the importance of buying shoes from an online e-commerce platform, whatever that means. Let's see what it will give us. So discover the perfect pair effortlessly. Everything you need to explore, select and purchase shoes online. You can see it gave us something, but the text also looked vague. I'm not sure it makes any sense, but at least it was able to modify the text from what we had initially to this one. Let's say we want to shorten it, maybe translate it to maybe like Chinese language. Let's say we want to translate this text to Chinese language. I think it's doing that, but I can't see the text anymore. Okay, it's there. It's showing now. So we had this initially and it has translated it to us. Let's see if we can, let's try to translate it back to English. Let's translate it back to English. You can use United States English and see if it gets easily discover the perfect shoes, everything you need to explore, choose and purchase online shoes. So it translated it back to us. Now, another feature that it has is that it can shorten the text for you or the paragraph or whatever. So I can say, okay, I want to shorten this. I want to make it shorter. Like try to make it shorter for me. And then there are some times that it can, but if the text is short enough, you might not be able to do that. Now, you can see it has shortened it from easily discover the perfect shoes, everything you need, and blah, 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 to discover perfect shoes, explore, choose, purchase online. I think I still prefer the first one, but this is how you can shorten your shoes. So these Figma AI tools are very, very important. They are amazing tools that you can explore, right? You can use it to generate first draft like we did. You can use it to rename your layers, use it to generate an image, but also be careful that most of the images that you might generate might not be as crispy as the ones that you can generate with Midjourney and the rest, right? Might not even be as creative as the ones you can generate with those other advanced image generating platforms, right? So, but you have to give them the credit that because they are still in beta mode, I'm sure they are improving the product, they are improving the feature, and with time to get better. So other features that you might see under this AI are your assets. If you have maybe like saved item, for example, if you had like a component, we'll get to component. This is where you can get access to it, right? You can have it, you can get it here. You can also get access to your components here. So let's try to create a component. A component is basically a reusable element in your design, right? For example, in our design, we use buttons multiple times, right? Multiple times. I can call this button. So for me not to have maybe like repetitive process, like most times I like creating a component so that I can have reusable elements instead of me to be creating those elements over and over again. And if I will need to make any change, I will just go to the parent element. We'll get to prototype and we'll get to component and see how we can create that. So let's say I want to make this button a reusable element in my design. I will just use the component to make it a component, and voila, it's already an asset, right? So if you come here, I'm sure you will see all these Figma sets that are available here that by default you can explore them and see, but I'm going to explore the one we have, which is this one, showing that we have a button, which is the one that we just created, because that's the only component that we have in this design file for now. So I'm going to select it and then I'll have it in. The beautiful thing about having a component is that, let's say I have these buttons in multiple places in my design, and then I will need to make changes, right, in the future. I don't need to come to each of them and start changing them. For any change I want to make on these items, on these buttons, I will just come to the parent element and then update the change. Let's say I want to make the purple maybe like pink. You can see it's, as I'm updating it here, it's updating there. Let's say I want to change the text color, right? I can just modify, and if you check here, the text color has been modified. But once you alter any feature from any of these buttons, let's say I select this one, and then once you alter any feature on the instance, so you have the parent element and then you have instance, the copy. Once you copy it, it becomes an instance of the component. That means you can call it the child of the parent, right? Once it becomes a child and then you make changes, if I say, let me change the color of this one, the change can only happen on this particular one. It will not affect others. It will not affect the parent. The only change that affects globally is the change you make on the parent element, right? But if you don't do that on the parent element, if you do it on the instance of the component, right, it's going to only affect that child component that you made the changes on. And then that particular feature that you have altered, or that particular property that you've altered on the parent, like in this case, we altered the color. Anytime I make the change on the parent, right, it will no longer affect the child. It will no longer affect, you can see every other button is blue, but this one is not, because we've altered that particular property in this parent. But the features that we've not altered, like the width, right? The width will still be retained. You can see the width is still working. The height is still retained. You can see the height is still working. The text size, right? The text size has not been altered. You can see the text size is still working. The text width, right? The weight of the text is still working. So all the features that have not been altered will still be intact. But once you alter any property, right, on the child element, it will no longer be, the changes you make on the parent element will no longer be reflected. Then if you want to take it back to its original state, right, you can say reset all changes, and then it will go back to its original state. And any change you make from now on, right, we affect it again. So this comes in handy in a situation where you made a mistake and then altered the property of a component that you've created. You can always reset it. You can also detach You can also detach this particular child element from its parent. Like you detach it, doesn't have anything to do with it again. You can remove all the property that made it or that makes it related to this particular one. So any change I make here, even from now to tomorrow, it will not affect it anymore. And I will not have the option anymore to reset all changes because I've already detached it from the parent, right? So that's it for using reusable or creating reusable items or elements and then having an asset in your asset library. I think we used one stone to kill like many birds. Next option that you can access here, plugins and widgets. So let's discuss plugins. Plugins basically help you at tools, Figma tools that help you to maximize your workflow. It helps you to get things done faster. For example, if I want a dummy text, I can just draw the text box here and then come here and select the Lorem Ipsum plugin. I will use it to generate a dummy text, right? Instead of me going online, searching for dummy text, or maybe writing a prompt to Figma saying, select a dummy text, I can just quickly use this to select dummy text and I can then reduce the height of this, right? So use the width, width tool or this tool to modify the text box and every other thing, right? So that's it for the Lorem Ipsum plugin. And then there are other plugins, like you have the icon plugin. In this case, feather icons, you can use it to generate icons. So let's say I want the home icon, I type home and you can see I'll get the home icon. Just drag it or double click and it will select it into my file. Let's say I want the heart or heart icon. You can see I can select, double click, and it will put it inside my design tool. And the beautiful thing about this one is that you can modify the width, right? You can modify the width. You can make it what's it called, fill icon, or you can make it outline icon. So I can reduce this, so you can have maybe like different versions of your icon. There's another icon plugin, material symbol, right? Material symbol. I think I have a separate video that shows you like icon libraries that you can explore for your designs. So you can check that video out. So if I search maybe like home, one of the things I like about this one is, let's say I search home, you can just modify the styling. So I want it rounded and you can see it has changed to this, and I want it to be on. That means the fill part to be on. If I want it to be off, if I want it to just be outlined, I can just have like an outline instead of me coming here to edit it manually. But whichever one appeals to you, all these icon libraries are awesome. Then you have another plugin that might be very important for you that you will be using on your day-to-day is the image plugins, right? You can search. Some of them are Unsplash. We've talked about Unsplash, right? We used Unsplash earlier to generate image that we use for those designs. Then there's another one, FreePic, right? FreePic plugin. Where is it? Photos by FreePic, yeah. So you can also, the same way you used the Unsplash, you can type the name of your message. You can say a lady, right? You can type a lady and then you see options for ladies is generating here. I think it's taking time. Either you type and then it will filter the options for you, or you can select from all the preset options there for you to select, or can use random images. But I don't know why it's taking time. You can come here and then open up, but it's taking time to load. So try it at your own leisure and see, just the same way we use for Unsplash. For Unsplash, you can create a shape and place it inside. You can just tap on the image and then bring the image into your design file, whichever one you want. So there are a whole lot of plugins here. You can explore them, right? There are plugins for sticky notes, right? Your sticky notes, you can use it to maybe like capture your idea, whatever you want. If I write on this one now, this is a sticky note, right? Note. and then I leave it. You can see I have my sticky notes here. But some of these things you can use your frame tool to, or your section tool to achieve them. Right, there are a whole lot of plugins that can help you to create 3D format of your design. You have one like 3D mockup or something like that. Forgotten the name. Yeah, Clay 3D mockup. You can use it to create 3D version of your designs for presentation. So let's say we want to use this design in our presentation. I'll just open up the plugin and then select the file. You can see I've selected it and selected it. But one thing I don't like about this plugin is that sometimes it cuts off some part of the design. So this is iPhone 11 Pro, 11 Pro, but what you're using is iPhone 16, but it's giving us iPhone 11. So really, it's really not capturing some of the screens that we want. I think they need to update their screens, right? MacBook Pro, 11 Pro, something like that. So I think that's why it's not giving it. Well, whichever one you're using, you can rotate it, you can modify it, you can choose to have different options of it. And when you're satisfied with the presentation, you can then save it. And it will save it as a PNG file, right? You can save it as a PNG file into your design. PNG file means that it doesn't have a background. You can see I can place it on this text. If it had a background, right, you can see the background will be showing on the text. But in this case, it doesn't have a background. You can see, you can make it this and it will not have a background. But in this case, it doesn't have a background. It's a PNG file. We'll talk about that shortly when we are exporting our designs. When we are exporting our design. So that's how you can use some of these. Like come here and explore. Just open up a plugin and then follow the direction. Most of these plugins are pretty straightforward. The next one we are going to be discussing, we are done discussing all the tools here. So the next one is the dev tool, the dev mode tool. So for designers, basically the dev mode helps you to see your designs from a developer's perspective. For developers, it helps them to pull design properties like typography style, typography sizes, color codes, and all, right? It also helps them to track the version history of the design. So for example, let's say I have this design and I'm viewing it from the dev mode. You can see as I clicked on it, it brought it to me. So I'm going to go to design mode now and then mark this as ready for dev, right? If I go to the dev mode now, you notice that this design is now like on the dev mode. If a developer comes, the design that they're going to see as the option that is ready for development is going to be seen here. And once they click on it, it will show them here. So let's say let me go back again and then mark multiple designs red. Let me select them and then mark them ready for, I've not gone to design mode, sorry. I'm going to change it to ready for dev, this one as well, ready for dev. So if I go back to my dev mode now, I'm going to see that all the designs I marked as ready for dev, right, has been highlighted here. And the developer, when they come to this place, they will be able to pull the designs that are ready for dev, which makes the design handoff and the design developer relationship more seamless and beautiful. So I can just come here and then you can see the properties of this layout, this screen. You can see them here. Display flex width is 402 and the height is 874. I can just copy them here. If the code the developer is using, if the code the developer needs is CSS, right? If they are designing for web, they can just copy the CSS code and then paste it on their VS Code, right? You can see the colors are listed here or you can see the background color, right? They can just copy here and a lot of them. So for example, let's say let me go back to design mode. Let's say I made some changes on this particular design that I've marked as ready for dev, right? Let's say I made some changes here and then I maybe like added a new color. I don't know what is it with me with these colors today, right? Right, let's say, or maybe let's use our design. Let's copy a design from here. Let's just copy this one and then bring something here. Let's say we extended the screen and then added this guy here, right? Let's add it here. And these are the changes that we made to this screen, right? If we go back to the dev mode, if the developer comes here and then selects the screen, on this left side of the screen, you can see the iPhone that was used. You can see it's ready for dev. And you say edited few seconds ago, right? It's now telling you that this was edited few seconds ago. If I select another one, you won't see that option to maybe like compare changes. If I selected the one that I've not made any recent changes after I marked it for ready for dev, right? You say created 6 hours ago. You can see this was created 6 hours ago. So if I select this now, it will say compare changes, right? And I will compare the changes with the previous screen. You can see the previous screen, how it was looking, and then you can see the current screen. And it's now showing you all the changes that were made when the change was made, which was 3 minutes ago, right? You can see this one was not existent before. This was how it was before, right? But this one now, this is the new changes, and the developer will be carried along that, okay, this was how it was looking when I started developing. A new change has been added. I need to modify that. So basically, understanding the developer handoff or the design to development handoff is very, very important when you're working with developers. And also, it's also good for you to also have maybe like one-on-one meetings to explain some of the flows to the developers, even when you have marked your screens as ready for dev, and which is why this sectioning your designs or your flows is also important, right? You can just come here and mark the section as ready for dev, and if they open it up, the designers open it, they will see that, okay, the onboarding section, the onboarding flows are ready, and they can see all the screens. You can see all the screens that are ready for dev. It's very, very important. It makes work seamless and faster, and they can copy the properties of each from this place based on what they are designing, right? Based on the design or the platform that they are designing for. If they need the code, if they need the properties, you can then filter. If they need the code, they can select the code and then copy the code content for it. So that's it for the dev mode. You can still go deeper, but this is like basic and like the straightforward explanation for it. So I'm going to remove status as well, right? The next one is the side tool here at the top. Remember when we started the class or this video, I told you that we have a tool panel at the bottom here and another tool panel at the top. Based on what you select, you're going to see the two options there. You see the dev mode tool, which we've talked about, right? So if you select an element or if you select a flow, you can mark it as ready for dev. We've also talked about the component tool, right? There's another feature of this component tool that we haven't discussed here, which is variant, right? Having different variations of your asset or your elements or your reusable elements. So let's say, for example, you want to have maybe like 2 types of buttons. You want to have a primary button and a secondary button. What you can do is to come here. Remember, once you create a component, if this element was not a component, right? Let's say if this element was not a component, I will see the component, which is this diamond icon here, right? But once it becomes a component, that diamond icon will change to a plus icon, and when you hover on it, it will tell you or prompt you to add a variant. I'm going to click on it. So now this button, this initial button that we had earlier, now has a variant, right? Or now has a sister or maybe a brother, whatever you want to call it, right? And then we can modify the properties of this so that this becomes a variation or a variant of this button. So I'm going to change it and maybe make it a lighter green. And maybe I want to use it as a hover option, right? So when a user hovers on this, it turns to this. And then I'm going to prototype it and then connect it to this. So the prototype option will now be, instead of change to, right? It will now be, instead of click, it will now be while hovering. So when a user hovers on it, it should be smart animate. When a user hovers on it, it will now change to this one. So if we take these buttons now, let's say we take this button and put them in any part of our design. Let's say these buttons are too large. You can make them like 48. each. Oh wow, is that how large they were? So this text can make it 16 and then center them, right? And then this one as well, we can make it 48. They were really large, believe me. So, and then this text can make it 16 and then center it, right? And then we have our buttons here. So at least we have decent buttons instead of those large ones that we're looking too big. And you can see the button is actually as big as it should on the screen. So let's go back to our prototype, right? Go back to our prototype now and then select price. We can be able to see, and we hover on it. You can see once you hover on it, it becomes that. So it becomes that. So I have a video on, like a detailed video on components and interactive components, variants, and all those things. By the time you go through it, though the video was done on the Figma old UI, but the design style, every other thing is the same. It's just the UI that looks different. And after watching this video, I'm sure you'll be able to know how to use the Figma file irrespective of wherever the elements have been placed, right, in that previous video. So just explore the video and you will like it, and you will use it to create some cool stuff, right, as a designer who is just starting out. Now that is it for components and variants, right? Remember, I told you based on the elements that you select, that's what you're going to see. Another tool that we're going to explore is the Boolean tool, right? We're going to explore the Boolean tool. So I'm going to select this. For example, let's say I want to merge these two elements. I come here and I have access to my Boolean tool. So the Boolean tool that I can use to merge these two elements, let me duplicate them because I will use them for other examples. So let's say the Boolean tool that I can use to merge these two is called the union tool. I want to combine them together, right? Make them a union. But that doesn't mean that as I made them a union that the other ones are not, the other shape is not existing. The other shape is still there, as it's still there, but I've merged them into one, two. And you might be wondering, why is it that is this color that is dominating in this union? The reason is because this one is at the top. This purple one is at the top. If I take the blue one and put it at the top, remember I told you, the bring to front. If I take it and put it at the top, you'll notice that the one that will dominate will be the blue one. So whichever one you want to be the dominating color, you should bring it to the top. So that's it for union. Then another Boolean tool that we have there is the subtraction. So it basically subtracts the selection, like where the first or the second or the element at the top, where the element at the top ends, that's where it subtracts. So for example, in this case, when you just select them, you notice that this one started from here and ended from here, hence it eliminates all the selected parts, right? Then you have another option. You have another Boolean tool here, which is intersect selection, right? This is the area where they're intersected. So it's going to eliminate every other thing that is not in that intersection area. Then another one is another Boolean property is the exclude selection. So it's basically going to exclude the place where they intersected. The other one retains the area of intersection, while this one excludes the area of intersection, right? It excludes the area of intersection. And you can use this to do like beautiful things. Let's say you want to create a house. So I'm going to draw a rectangle here, and you see how we can use these properties to create amazing things. So let's say you want to draw a rectangle. I'm going to go into the edit mode. Remember the edit mode, and then we are going to select this and click down on shift and select this as well. I want to create a house, right? And then I'm going to press down on I'm going to click down on, I'm going to select this, right? And then select this and then select them. I'm going to press down on my arrow key, right? Keep pressing down on my arrow key so that I can create maybe like the house top style. That's number one, right? That's the first one. And then I'll create a rectangle. So I'll maybe make it black and place it at the top. I think I want to make it smaller and place it at the top. Make sure it's centered. And then I will use that exclusion selection to create a house. And then you can see a house icon. We can modify maybe like the corner radius and make it curved, or maybe make it rounded a little bit, and you can see we have amazing things. So these are not just for you to maybe like combine shapes or this thing. You can use it to do a whole lot of things, just like we're able to like achieve this house icon that we just did now, right? So that's it for your Boolean tools. That's it for your Boolean tools here. The next tool that we're going to be talking about is auto layer. So this one is flatten selection. For example, if you take a look at this union tool, we have like two rectangles, but if we select them now and flatten them, it's going to combine them into one whole shape, right? If we flatten them, it's going to combine them. Now we don't have it anymore. We only have one shape, you can see. Unlike here, we have the union. We still have the two shapes existing. You can see the two shapes are existing, but once we flatten it, it becomes a whole shape. It's just like you drawing a rectangle here, right? Just like you drawing a rectangle, and then you have like a full shape. That's what this one looks like now. So that's it for the Boolean tool. We already talked about the max tool, which is this one. You use it to max your element, right? So let's say, for example, you have an image. So I've gotten an image. I think this image is pretty cool, and we are going to try out again. So I'm going to select the image on it. If your image is behind, just right click and then bring to front. But in this case, our image is on top of the shape. So we come here and then select the max tool. Sometimes you might not see it here. Sometimes you will need to expand to get access to it. But in this case, it's showing here, and you can see we've been able to place or max this image into the shape, which is really looking cool. You can use it to draw amazing things and then place your images on them. So just explore the tools and see what you can achieve with them. Then the next tool is the tool we call auto layout, right? Auto layout helps you to create automated layout. Just for example, this design that we have here, if you want to add another design, we need to place it. We need to place it and maybe copy it and place, and then adjust the screen and all those manual process helps to delay speed of work and every other thing. One of the ways to speed up your work is using auto layout. Another name for automated layout, right? Automated layout. That means the layout is automated. Once you add an element, it's going to automate it and give it the necessary spacing that you're supposed to give it based on what you specify. So let's say you want to make this container an auto layout. Just come here, click here, right? Click here and make it auto layout. You can see you have made this container an auto layout. If I add any other element, let's say I add a new element, you can see it has like adjusted, and all of them have the same spacing. So the reason it's not extending is because it's unfixed. If we take it to hot content, that means you should take the shape of its content, right? Hot content. You should adjust as you add more content to it. It will keep adjusting, and you can see the thing is becoming better and better and better, and it's adjusting and adjusting. The layout can be horizontal, right? So you can make the layout horizontal, or you can make the layout vertical. So you can see it's changing vertical. When it comes to wrap, right? When it comes to wrap, you can choose to, the situation where you don't just want them to be single, you can choose to have them like this, and as you are wrapping them, it's wrapping, right? As you're wrapping them, it's wrapping. You can see it's wrapping and wrapping. So that's the basic details about auto layout. You can have your spacing. You have maybe like your padding top, left and bottom. So you have the padding top. I can say I want the padding left and right to maybe like 32, and you can see I want the padding top and bottom to be. So padding is basically the space around your element. You can see the space here. These are just the padding, like the space that you have, and it helps you to create a very clean design when you have like enough space around your element. Let's say I want the space between these elements to be maybe like 24. Can increase it. You can see it has increased. So you have some of the properties you have is like the spacing in the middle, you have the padding left and right, you have the padding top and bottom. You can also choose to maybe like have different padding spaces for them. So let's say I want to use 48 for the padding right. You can see I use 48 here, while on the left you have 32. And you can see that the elements have also adjusted because we are on the wrap here. We are using the wrap layout instead of horizontal or vertical, whichever one you want to do. That is it. So that's it for auto layout. It helps you to create automated layout, just like what we had here. If we take this now and add another image, you can see it has adjusted the size of this container to fit the image, right? To accommodate the images that we just duplicated. So that's the one thing about auto layout. Another feature that we are going to discuss is Figma shortcuts, right? So if you want to have access to Figma, one of the things that Figma has made possible is that both beginner designers and advanced designers can use Figma efficiently and well. And what shortcut does for you is that it helps improve the efficiency of your work, right? So let's say you want to use the scale tool. Instead of you coming here selecting scale, you can just press down on K, right? And then you select the scale tool. How you know that you selected the scale tool is that the cursor will now be double at its edges, right? You can see the cursor is now double and you are scaling it. Another tool, maybe like you want to select the text tool. Instead of you clicking here, you can just click on T, right? A whole lot of them, if you want to select the pen tool, you can just click on P and you select the pen tool. And to get access to those things, sometimes when you select an element, right? If I select this element and right click, if it's telling me the features or the properties or the function that I need to perform on the element, it's also giving me the shortcut for that. For example, if I want to group an element or group a section, I can click on Ctrl G. If I want to frame a selection, that means if I want to use a frame on it, I can click on Ctrl Alt G. But these are some of the things that you don't need to bother yourself with. But knowing how they work and how you can access them is very important. So to access Figma shortcuts, just click here and then click on keyboard shortcuts, right? And you see you have access to all the keyboard shortcuts. For the tools, you have the move tool V, frame tool F, pen tool P, pencil tool Shift P, and others. Just come here. You might even start doing it on a daily basis, that if you just open your Figma, just come here, read. As you're reading it, you won't know that it's actually registering in your mind, right? With time, you get used to the shortcuts. Like for example, to zoom in, you have Control plus, right? And others. So see a whole lot of them. You have access to them and then explore them. Another tool that we didn't discuss is the zoom tool, right? Like when we are talking about these Figma plugins, I remember the zoom tool, you have access to. Let's say you want to zoom out, I can just click on zoom out. If you want to zoom in, you can just click on zoom in. Then if you want to fit the design, you want everything. For example, if you have your design scattered and you want everything to fit into the screen, you just click on it and it will fit into the screen. So explore some of them, like your rulers. If you want to make your rulers visible, you make it visible. Like it was visible before because I selected it, it disappeared. If I select it again, it shows again. See some designers, when they're designing, they'll tell me that their design changed to outlines, right? They are just seeing the outline version of your design. Yeah, that is what happened. And the shortcut for that is Ctrl Shift O, right? Ctrl Shift O. If you want to see like your designs in its sketch format, you can see it here, right? It's really a nice thing to look at. Remember when we were drawing this table, and this is how it's actually looking. So you can choose to show it, you can choose to hide it if you want to go back to your main design. So that is it on introduction to Figma. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you very much, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye bye.